let's see. How did Stephen start? How do you know what's his? What do you know about Stephen? His history.
From what I know of his history, is it obviously started for him seriously in high school. That's where I think he met Greg Anderson, who was his partner's son. And he'd always been at that stage heavily into more of the black metal. Right, pretty much after high school, we went to England to work with Mr. Prophet Records, which was a big black metal label. And from these black metal roots, he has progressed into Doom, and he was one of the seminal defining bands of the genre called Burning Witch. And as an artist, he is one of the only, as I said, that seems to have evolved, so to speak, at times, helps to define the genre. The adaptation of the sound to a new form. He's been in the limelight as far as the genre is concerned for years. He obviously he's going to be the key figure as far as the first. This body of work again speaks for itself as far as fans. Doom fans stated very much as one of the defining bands of that genre, as Kanye. Other.
What are all his projects now simultaneously?
Simultaneously, as far as I know, he has a new one called Avatars, which I think is more of a noise metal. Son, Kanye, I think Ganuga got was something that recurs. But as far as the spread, the variety of certain he's I wouldn't say spread thin, but he's definitely working in a variety of skills. And as far as interview, as we're discussing, the intent is to get the full dialogue. There will be, as you're trying to do, when a director. And we will ask some specifics. So, what led you to the hammer? What led you from Thor's Hammer, which was more of a black metal, to the idea of pursuing some of Greg Anderson, who, again, he's known Greg Anderson since high school. That's his closest friend. And now he's doing more experimental. Lauren Barkey, he's also stepping off into more abstract experimental as far as music.
What do you think are his influences?
Everything. Ornette Coleman, talk about Ravi Shankar. Big fan of Ravi Shankar.
Right, you know that rap has quite a bit.
Right. Tibetan with voice bowls. Who else? Alice Coltrane. Big fan of Alice Coltrane. So his influences are extremely eclectic. And I think that is also what sets him apart in that sense, is that he will claim to be influenced Miles Davis Bitches Brew, but then he'll go into classical. Erwin Paris, minimalist composer. So as far as his breadth of knowledge influences, I think that will be integral in the show to help bring the stereotype of the genre away, to kind of dissemble the stereotype, to show that there actually is a different type of intent, a different type of influence. It's not just, like myself, you don't just say you grew up on Iron Maiden and make it.
Is he someone, so who else would you see among like this whole scene that is as varied or as diverse or as he is?
Well, at this point, Dominic Furnow, we can get in touch with him. Other key players could be even somebody like Guy Marchais from Suffocation. These guys in the No Night Blues Band. Their foray into black metal was obviously pretty, as far as I'm concerned, pretty authentic. So for them to come into this and give it such a diverse spin, they would definitely be something to talk about.
What about Guy Marchais? Have you film it? Have you seen any of this stuff?
No, we actually haven't filmed them yet. Gustavo has pretty much the contact. If we send him
Stuff it through.
Yiddish. When we went to see the Suffocation show, he, at BB King, he had actually gone into meeting for the show. And he told Gustavo, saw his shirt and said, "Who are you?" And he's, I'm the Suffocation. And Gustavo said, "Oh, we're going to go see the show tonight." He didn't believe it. That was part of the sales pitch. And sure enough,
So afterwards, you guys.
at the concert while we're on the main floor before Suffocation broke, he came up and tapped on the elbow and was like, "Hey, I didn't think we'd come." And we've
So you guys talked. You had it.
yeah, we discussed our project in the early stages with him, and he was definitely interested as far as email. So he has seen Gustavo on a few occasions at Yiddish, and he still mentions his girlfriend at the time actually was wanting to talk to us also about documentary shows, but she never came about it. I think that obviously right now we're just at the tip of the proverbial iceberg as far as
How much do you think you know in terms of the scene? Are there a lot of? Do you know everything? Do you know pretty much everything? Or is there? Are
you
there?
can never know everything.
But in terms of like, for example, within O'Malley, someone like O'Malley, people that are currently on the scene doing this kind of work. Like in New York, is there a lot more that you think we don't know about?
I think the case in point was when we went to that show about Mozambique.
Because you didn't know Guapo?
No, I knew Guapo, but just the fact that there is this undercurrent that occurs without, what I'm saying is there's also probably unexposed artists. Not to say that we need to tap into that, but I just feel that the wealth is still there to be discovered. And I think that's also the signpost of the show will be we can be somewhat of a beacon for those willing to come up on camera, so to speak their mind, and give their opinions. I think it could be a legitimate vehicle for them. I was very happy to go to that Zombie Guapo show because to me that is what New York goes. At least coming from the Midwest, that's what you feel is New York's pop. It's this true underground where people are doing it for the love first. And they're making a living great in the manufacturing. To do it for love, step up and say, okay, we can get paid too. Best of both worlds. It's the only way you can survive this. And I think that's what the show will demonstrate also is that we can give it a pragmatic spin by defining it for potential fans, for those who are interested, curious, but we can retain our credibility, so to speak. We can stay true to.
Well, there are other things that will also start, right? There are other projects.
The catalyst, everything, there is so much potential for crossover, so to speak, cross-pollination. I think people are into it. I think there is a general excitement just because the product makes sense. It's a very basic level. We're just capturing imagery, we're capturing interesting content, interesting opinions, and formatting in such a way that it's very accessible to all. Laura, I think Laura she definitely seems to be very interested in the product. That's just, there's people who have some experience showing the interest really does give it the viability that it needs.
Right.
It's not just a flash in the pan, or it's not just an idea now, it is starting to metamorphose and become what it should become. I think that is the key as far as this will be the hardest part, is to make it seem natural, a dialogue seem natural. To get somebody sitting in front of a camera and say, hey, talk about this. And that will be challenging because not all artists may be comfortable with giving their opinion and trying to keep their diction proper.
Well, I think that's where we have to come in and try to do it in as non-intrusive a way as possible.
I think Steven is the no-brainer as far as this is concerned, because I think he will have the problems. Because he's very used to limelight. He's very used to being the center of attention. He'll more challenging to get that artist who is more reclusive. Maybe that's not the, then we won't focus on that. We focus on those that do want to speak. And I don't think that'd be very difficult at all. Because there's a lot of different avenues we can approach also. Again, interviews can also be label owner, producer, music producer. I mean, it is a strange concept. Even I wrestle with it at times. But I think if it's well executed, it can be very potent.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how you, just in terms of the subject itself, what do you want to tangle? Why, what is and then, are you interested in some kind of general message, general motivation for what's going on besides just creative expression? How do you just break that down?
Well, every article or every interview could also have a template, a basic template. So instead of just specifics, how was the tour or where are you touring next? It could be more, give a broad, more conceptual question as far as you see you're playing, it's going from A to B, it seems to be becoming more drony, it's more ambient. Are there influences right now that are influencing the way you are playing? You've differentiated your styles. What would you say is the cause? It could be industry specific also. You make a living, it doesn't have to be specific numbers, but how do you feel about the state of music? What is your take? Do you feel that you want to sell more records and sell out? I mean, we can be not so specific, but go around it. The idea of big label contracts.
How do you see that?
How do you see that? Do you want to sell more? Do you feel if a record label approached you and said, we want you to make this kind of an album, would you do it? We can get specific.
You can approach the limited edition issue.
Right. Do you feel limited editions are a joke? Do you feel that it's just a...
Is it really a protection, or does it become some kind of way of aggrandizing it?
Completely, or is it just a materialistic concept? Oh, I have number 2 of 500 or number 2 of 50. Do you do that? Do you participate? Would you participate?
Right.
So we can go with the pros and the cons. We can also challenge them. Say, well, that's another thing that could be good about the interview is that we challenge the interviewee in a sense. So Stephen didn't like I didn't like Black One. I felt it was too black metal. I don't think they played the hybrid aspect of it. What do you feel? What's been the response towards this? Because it is black metal influence, but it's not black metal. So is this just your way of also evolving the form? You're saying just taking influence and get him speaking about that. Because I wasn't a big fan of Black One personally. That's because I'm definitely more my taste from taking. I like black metal, experimental. But that's where it become a point where he can say why he did it, why he tried to do a black.
What you have to do is one night we have to get the mixer, or we don't even have to get the mixer. You should just get us all here, whoever wants to be here, and do like 3 hours of it, right? And just go through the basic template, your kind of basic template.
Right.
That would be cool. Well, let's see what this is.
Well, does it make a little sense to you now? I mean, not